বাংলাদেশে বিদেশি বিনিয়োগ বৃদ্ধির লক্ষ্যে ব্র্যাক ইপিএল কর্তৃক ফরেন ইনভেস্টমেন্ট সামিট 2025 এর আয়োজন করা হয়। আয়োজনে জাপানের বিনিয়োগকারী সহ দেশের গণ্যমান্য ব্যক্তিবর্গগণ এবং বিশিষ্ট অর্থনীতিবিদগণ উপস্থিত হন এবং গুরুত্বপূর্ণ বক্তব্য প্রদান করেন। এতে উপস্থিত ছিলেন বিএনপির স্ট্যান্ডিং কমিটির চেয়ারম্যান আমির খসরু মাহমুদ চৌধুরী এবং ওয়ার্ল্ড ব্যাংকের লিড ইকোনমিস্ট জাহিদ হোসেন সহ আরও বিশিষ্ট অর্থনীতিবিদগণ, ব্যবসায়ীগণ।
বাংলাদেশ এখন ইকোনমিকে উচ্চ পর্যায়ে নিয়ে যাওয়ার জন্য প্রস্তুত। বাংলাদেশ এখন বিনিয়োগকারীদের, দেশে বিদেশের সব বিনিয়োগকারীদের সাথে নিয়ে আগামী দিনে বাংলাদেশের জনগণের যে আকাঙ্ক্ষা, যে প্রত্যাশা জেগেছে, সেটা পূরণ করার জন্য প্রস্তুত। এবং ইতিমধ্যে নির্বাচনের খবর দেশে বিদেশে সব জায়গায় চলে গিয়েছে। সবাই নির্বাচনের অপেক্ষায় ছিল। যেহেতু নির্বাচনের খবর ছড়িয়ে পড়েছে, দেশের মধ্যে উদ্যোক্তারা প্রস্তুতি নিচ্ছে, দেশের বাইরের উদ্যোক্তারা প্রস্তুতি নিচ্ছে, যার ফল আজকে আমরা এখানে দেখতে পাচ্ছি। আজকে বিশাল একটা ডেলিগেশন জাপান থেকে আসছে বাংলাদেশে বিনিয়োগ করার উদ্দেশ্যে। সুতরাং আগামীর বাংলাদেশে বিনিয়োগের মাধ্যমে আমরা ওই টাকা ছাপানোর থেকে, ঋণ নেওয়ার থেকে বাংলাদেশের অর্থনীতিকে বিনিয়োগের দিকে নিয়ে যাব আগামী থেকে। এবং বিনিয়োগ হচ্ছে একমাত্র আনসার। বিনিয়োগের বাইরে গিয়ে অন্য কোনো উপায়ে অর্থনীতিকে সাস্টেইনেবল, টেকসই করা যাবে না। এবং আমরা সকালে মিলে সেই কাজটা করতে যাচ্ছি, সেই প্রস্তুতি নিচ্ছি। আগামী দিনের বাংলাদেশের জন্য দেশি বিনিয়োগ, বিদেশি বিনিয়োগ এবং ক্যাপিটাল মার্কেটকে আমাদেরকে উচ্চ পর্যায়ে নিয়ে যেতে হবে। কারণ ক্যাপিটাল মার্কেট ব্যতীত আসলে লং টার্ম ফাইন্যান্সিং সম্ভব নয়। এখানে আমি একটু যোগ দিচ্ছি, আই এম স্পিকিং ইন ইংলিশ। লট অফ because of there was absence of strong capital market, you see everybody, every penny, every dollar, every taka was coming up government exchequer. Government is not supposed to carry, government is not supposed to spend all the money. The capital market is there to fund it. Like the autonomous bodies in Bangladesh, they must operate like an enterprise, like the Biman. They must operate like an enterprise. Why should the government exchequer fund for purchasing Biman? They can go to the capital market. The municipalities, there are municipal bonds function everywhere. Why can't we float the municipal bonds? Municipalities are profitable enterprises. There are so many profitable enterprises which can be funded by the bonds, municipal bonds. Like that, government exchequer should not be overloaded with all this expenditure. They should all go to the capital market. So if we can do that, we will find that there will be enough for the social sector, for the upliftment of our poverty and our infrastructure investment and other areas. So the economic structure has to change. We cannot function with the old economic structure. Like we have Bangladesh has great potential with artisans. You know, Bangladesh have artisans all around the country. And their product is never monetized. We like to monetize their products. We like to give them technical support, the designing, with the input they need, with branding, with selling platforms like Amazon and Alibaba. One village, one product is not an invention. It's happening all over the world. People are working from home, selling direct through Alibaba and through অ্যামাজন, আমাদের দেশের এই সম্ভাবনা গ্রামে গঞ্জে যারা আছে তাদেরকে সবাইকে তার জায়গায় ইকোনমিতে ইনভলভ করতে হবে। তাদের প্রোডাক্টগুলোকে আমরা ব্র্যান্ড করতে হবে, টেকনিক্যাল সাপোর্ট দিতে হবে, অর্থনৈতিক সমর্থন দিতে হবে, এবং এইগুলো সারা বিশ্বে সরাসরি এক্সপোর্ট হচ্ছে এখন। ওই ঢাকাতে আসতে হবে না, চিরঙে যেতে হবে না। You don't have to come to big cities anymore. Things have changed. People are working from home. There is a less of migration, pressure on big cities. বড় বড় শহরের উপর চাপ কমে যাবে। So this is another aspect of economy we are looking at. We have named it creative economy. This creative economy will embrace a large section of Bangladeshis who have been left out of the economic activities in the past. They will all be taken to the economic activities. They will all be participants. So, as I said, Bangladesh is ready for the boom. Turbocharger is in place. Let's go forward. Thank you. I'd like to congratulate, first of all, BRAC EPL for organizing this event today. Perhaps at a time when the country is at a crossroad, politically, economically, and otherwise. And bringing such a large delegation from Japan, and Japanese friends are here. I welcome all our friends from Japan. Arigatou gozaimasu. I don't know if I pronounced it right or not, but that's the best I can do. You have heard so much from the previous speakers about the capital market and future of capital market in Bangladesh, and how investors should find Bangladesh in the future economic perspective. One thing I can assure you right now, in Bangladesh, not just the politicians, people across the board, the uppermost on their mind is the economy of the country. And Bangladesh economy is not going to be a beginning. We have had a fairly good beginning post-liberation, 1972, 73, 74 onward particularly. The country transformed from command economy to market economy, one-party system to multi-party democracy. A lot of political reforms and economic reforms that saw Bangladesh over the years, as some previous speakers mentioned, 6% growth. So our Japanese friends, I can assure you, we will be with you all the way. And Japanese have a good footprint in Bangladesh as it is. We have worked with them together bilaterally, and all the private sectors that came, they have all done well in Bangladesh. So I went with this for the press. I have to say a few words in Bengali. Excuse me for that.
for the loss of the international support that it has under as an LDC status. About 74% of Bangladesh's exports may get affected by as and when it gets out of the LDC status. So product and market diversification and competitiveness is at the heart of Bangladesh's strategy going forward. And as I mentioned, the diversification, Bangladesh has done well in an important sector, global sector like apparel, where it emerged as the second largest after China, but Bangladesh can do far better in many other sectors. So it needs to expand. One of the important economic imperatives it needs to expand its currently concentrated export and economic base into many more. If you look at the world advantage, cost advantage vis-a-vis our comparator economies, Vietnam, Indonesia, India, even for some sectors, China. This builds on Bangladesh's competitive costs in wages, in managerial costs, utilities, and so on. A McKinsey survey done in 2018, a McKinsey survey, it presents some of the emerging, at the point of 2018, it had a 7-8 years outlook. It presented some emerging strength for Bangladesh and Bangladesh's global positioning or Bangladesh's global strength, which positions Bangladesh uniquely well in the current geo-economic fracturing that is taking place around the world, which is leading to reshoring, nearshoring, diversion of supply chain, deconcentration from several countries including China. And Bangladesh is well positioned based on some of these numbers according to McKinsey. You see Bangladesh's competitive labor wage. Some say Bangladesh has cheap labor. I don't say that. Bangladesh has competitive and smart labor. And for labor to skill intensive manufacturing and services around the world, Bangladesh is the go-to place, one of the top 3 go-to place for foreign investors who are looking for reshoring, nearshoring, as well as for deconcentration of supply chain. As you see, Bangladesh, one of the top 3, in fact, the topmost for RMG hotspots. The RMG weight 71% lower than China, or even 24% lower than Vietnam. Bangladesh's geostrategic location, it has strengths for those who are engaged in strategic geopolitical engagement, but it also has strength for those who are looking for regional supply chain, regional investment. It is the connector between the South Asia as well as the East Asia ASEAN markets. If you look at Japan's Big B, Japan's Asia policy, in all of which Bangladesh appears as the most important connector in terms of infrastructure, connectivity for better, seamless market integration between ASEAN countries and South Asia and within the eastern part of the South Asia. But Japan's Big B, the Bay of Bengal Industrial Growth Belt Initiative, is allocating billions of dollars to build energy, road connectivity, broader logistics infrastructure. And if you would recall, Prime Minister Kishida back in April 2023 announced that Japan would be working with Bangladesh as well as other regional partners to develop the regional supply chain corridor starting from the Matarbari cluster in the southeast part of Bangladesh. So that presents a great opportunity to tap into broader South Asia regional market. The Northeast India, 2.8% of India's about $4 trillion GDP, from a manufacturing, supply chain, and broader services perspective, there is no better place to serve that market from Bangladesh in the entire South Asia. If you look at
Mr. Saifuddin, CFA, who has been recently appointed as the Commissioner at the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission. Prior to that, Mr. Saifuddin was the Managing Director of IDLC Securities Limited from 2009. He is a seasoned finance professional with extensive experience in capital markets, regulation, investment analysis, and corporate governance. And I also take the pride to say that he was my deputy until very recently for 2 years as the senior. Are requested to highlight on 2 points. Number one, what are the most impactful BSEC reforms underway to enhance transparency and governance? And the second one is what incentives are being considered to deepen market offerings and attract foreign investment and funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saiful Islam, and distinguished guests, esteemed investors, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this year's BRAC EPL Foreign Investor Conference. I have a simple message today. Bangladesh presents one of the most compelling frontier market opportunities in the world. I want to share a story in some parts of the story of resilience, the story of reforms, and rising opportunity. The moderator asked me to address some of the things, some of the transparency and the future activities of Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission as a regulator. I also want to mention some stories about Bangladesh. Our journey begins in resilience from 1971 to this.
Particularly RMG industry, that need to go to the next stage, and the next stage is involving more long-term capital, meaning equity capital. And in order for equity guys like us to come into your situation, we need to make sure that you have the proper framework, accountability, governance in place. So please work on it, and we will support you. And secondly, the elephant in the room, in this room, who is not very well represented today, is a young people. So while foreigners can come into your market, be careful what you wish for, okay? When foreigners come to this market and foreign direct investment pours into Bangladesh, then that could be a turbocharger of your growth. But at the same time, it could be a tremendously disruptive negative force, because one sign of instability, we're gone. So we are fast money, we're greedy money, we're aggressive, but we're capricious. In order to keep us in your market, you shouldn't be doing things like violence. No violence, please. You know, the moment we see you going out of control, we're going to go back to Japan. So please get along, no violence. The difference of opinion is okay, but if you have difference of opinions, talk it over and work out the differences, because you're being watched by international investors. So don't scare them off. And the second thing I would like to talk about, as Mr. Alauti Mohammed previously talked about, this growth should be inclusive. What does that mean? From stock market point of view, inclusive means everybody participates in the rally and the process of wealth generation. And the best way to do that is to broaden domestic individual investors' base. In the United States, back in the mid-1990s, this law called ERISA law was newly established, and there was a deregulation of, among other things, pension system management, and new system called 401k was introduced. 401k is an individual retirement fund. It's a private fund. And because of 401k program, many small investors in the United States started to own shares, and that made them able to participate in the growth of the economy, and
things were going pretty well. And I'm from India originally, so kind of resonated with me seeing India at 15, seeing the growth story in India, from 2000 onwards, how it's done pretty well. So you were doing 6% plus GDP growth between, the 2010, 2017, 18. So, for us as an investor in Bangladesh, between 2013, 2017, 18, things were going pretty smoothly. You still have had that time also very well run companies. Economy was doing well. There was not too much of regulatory burden on many sectors, at least until then. So things were going pretty smoothly. I think to put in the Sri Lanka context, things, all the negative events or negative consequences don't happen in 1 year or 2 years. It takes over a period of time, like we saw in the case of Sri Lanka. So I think, foreign investor confidence, at least that ebbing for Bangladesh, at least in our opinion, or my opinion, from 2018-19 onwards, there was talk about interest rate caps coming in, which eventually did happen when the pandemic struck. I remember in 2020, the stock exchange was shut for about 1 month, or a little more than a month. So the investor confidence took a hit because of these issues in the banking sector. From the stock market regulator perspective, you had regulatory overhangs in the telecom sector. So very important sectors, which are very important in the stock market. They were high weight in the index, so had regulatory regulatory burdens. You had some of these issues, and of course, growth started slowing down. So you had, for the period from 2020 to 2024, a lot of negative consequences all adding up, which eventually led to the events of last year. And that takes you to Sri Lanka story. Sri Lanka had not just 1 or 2 tough years. To end of 2018, they had a constitutional crisis. In 2019, they had the Easter Sunday attacks, which affected tourism. And then in 2020 and 21, you had the pandemic, which again affected the overall economy and the tourism sector as well. And then 2022, obviously, that led to the events of 2022, political protests and change in government, similar to what happened in Bangladesh last year. At the same time, when all these events happen, people think very negatively, people are not very optimistic, there's a lot of pessimism on the ground amongst investors. But just from an investor's perspective, those are probably very good opportunities just from a long-term view. Because firstly, on a bottom-up basis, companies, both in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, I would say in general, in the frontier emerging market universe, are very well run, fundamentals are very stable. So yes, there are issues in the banking sector in Bangladesh, but you have companies in the consumer space, some of the well-run banks in telecom.
Again and again, we keep ourselves moving, we dream of the things that no one else dreamt. There is a historian, Gokhale used to say, what the Bengal used to think today, India thinks tomorrow. That's the kind of intellectual advancement that the Bengal Delta had in our history throughout centuries. So yes, there are difficult times, but I can assure, and you can see all the political parties, Kostrubhai is here, and hopefully the next finance minister of the country, and he can assure, and other political activists, that we are all here to confirm that investments, investors, safety, deregulation, investment, climate improvement, all of the things that is required. And in particular, of course, getting the capital market flow in favor of the people, not for the oligarchs. These are the things that, of course, we agree to it, we have fought for it, we talked about it, and there is a no going back things. So I thank the organizers, the host, for bringing our Japanese friend back into business, and we're here, we're going to fight for you as well on the streets. So the better climate, the better trading environment are given by the state and the government.
The stabilization of the foreign currency itself in terms of the reserves, in terms of the allowing exchange rates to become market-based, which is a big change over the last many years. All that is a big positive. Nevertheless, there is an enormous amount of work to do, but the central bank and the governor is doing a pretty good job. They have three large areas that they're working on. One is
Since I have regards to specific samples of hunting. What I understand is that the whole seminar has been arranged to invite foreign investor in the capital market, if I'm right. So our capital market actually very hungry for investment from outside in order to avoid, in order to replace the power player in the capital market from retail development. So I think the foreign investor
But looking at the investors here, I'm sure you've come with expectations about opportunities in Bangladesh market. One thing that I can advise is that if you want to invest in Bangladesh's capital market, you have to be prepared to play the long game, not short-run, footloose type of investments. And by long, I don't mean long enough when we are all dead. I mean, not too short. If you have an investment horizon of, say, 3 to 5 years, you will probably, nobody can guarantee returns, but if you hold on, you will probably be ahead in terms of your returns. So with that, I wish you all the best of luck. I mean, the global economy is going through a very volatile period.